All right, we are recording. Oh my gosh, you guys, I am so excited to be back with you. I know it's been a couple weeks since we did our last tips from the top. Life got crazy. We had conference. Put a one in the chat if conference just blew your mind and you're just so pumped up for 2021. But I am so excited to start this next type of round of tips from the top with Susan because she is someone that I've looked up to for the longest time. And I just feel like I love her soul, even though I've never met her. That's just like how I feel. And I'm just so excited for you guys to hear from her. So Susan, I'm going to go ahead and unmute you. If you want to just share a little bit about your story of like what life was like before it works, kind of a little bit about your journey and what life is like now. Oh, there we
Okay.
go.
Hi, everybody. I'm Susan. Like she said, I've been in this business for 8 years. I joined when I was a newlywed, and I was working as a registered nurse at the time. I was on maternity leave. My husband was working just a normal job, and we were like the normal newlywed couple. We lived in Nashville. I wanted a family. He did too, but he was kind of thinking like it would be years down the road, and I wanted a family like right away. We had dated a while, so I was just ready. And looking at our finances, it just didn't make any sense. Like if for me to stay home, we would not have been able to survive on his income. I mean, we would have probably made it, but we had debt, credit card bills. I mean, we were living in the tiniest little house. If you know Nashville, it's in this town called Antioch. Like my house was near like a taco truck. It was just like run down, and I love tacos, by the way, but like it just wasn't in like the nicest part of town, and we were renting. So that's just where we started. And I really wanted to be a stay-at-home mom, begged Michael, and he was like, no, it's not going to happen. Well, long story short, he had this offer with his job that he was going to get promoted, and he had to just do a couple things over the next like couple of months. And so we had this big plan that we were going to try to get pregnant, and I did. And we ended up having my daughter, and a month after she was born, like his boss completely changed his mind, like didn't promote him financially, like they changed his title. So we were stuck. Like my husband's telling me I'm going to have to go back to work. This whole dream of like having this white picket fence, you know what all of us like dream about, like the house across the street was like getting raided for drugs. Like literally my life was not looking the way that I thought it was supposed to be, like at all. And I just remember crying, looking at I think she was like 2 months at the time. I'm searching for jobs online, and I see this post over and over about it works, and there's this crazy wrap. And I remember messaging the girl I signed with, just so skeptical. And she came over and wrapped me. And I didn't even want to be a loyal customer, you guys. I was so against the auto ship. I'm green and red. So I just was like, I heard auto ship and I was like, yeah, no. But then when I saw results on the third day, it was like I had to kind of pretend it was my idea. And I was like, oh, like I could actually make money with this. So Brooke, who enrolled me, didn't actually talk me into selling at all. She was just trying to get me as a customer. And then I came up with this idea. If I just told enough people, I could get enough cash to stay at home with my daughter for a couple of months. So I ended up joining, and I'll never forget, think my 4th or 5th month, I went double diamond. And that's when my eyes just completely opened up. I saw like my nursing income being replaced, but then it just grew into, became a top earner my first year. Started going to like these top earner trips, which you guys, like y'all should have seen me at my first one. I still feel this way when I go to trips because I just feel like I'm always the outsider and I don't feel like I fit in. But the first one I went to, I was like following around. If y'all know who Dree Kneller is, like I just followed her around like a lost puppy. Like I just was like, how am I here? Like why am I here? And that was years ago. And now what, 7 years later from that trip, I'm an ambassador. We ended up moving into a newer house in Nashville. Then we moved to Florida because we wanted to like get our dream house in Florida, wanted to live in paradise. Then we realized, oh, hey, we're living in paradise. We have 4 children. It's not really what we thought. We don't want to raise our kids in paradise. So then we just moved last month to Texas. So we're living in Prosper, Texas. We live near Sherry Lynn. We're about 10 minutes from her. She's in Frisco. I literally closed my eyes and wanted this life. And because of it works, I was able to go, hey, let's move from Florida because that's not it. Let's try Texas. So here I am. I love this business so much and it's completely changed my life. We're debt free. Like I said, we have 4 kids. If you follow me on social media, we're the ones with all the girls. We don't have a boy. And even our dog at one point, she passed away, but she was a girl too. And I'm a busy mom and I make this business work. So that's me.
Oh my gosh, I love that. And I love that you shared that you guys felt secure because your husband was supposed to get promoted and then your
Mhm.
plan A job, they were like, oh, just kidding. Like at the last minute,
Yeah.
never mind, which happens. And so many times people think their plan A is so solid and then it's all of a sudden not. So I love
Yeah.
that you shared that. Okay, so you mentioned that you're a busy mom, you got 4 kids. So talk to us about how you balance your mom life with also still being super consistent with your business.
So, 8 years, the business changes. I've been in this business with a nanny where I've had help. I've been in this business where my husband was still working and like on a headset at 4 a.m. waking me up. Like I've been in the business where, which is kind of currently right now where he's home. He does his own things from home. He works from home. So we're kind of like teaming up, but we do not have any childcare besides the girls going to public school, like the older 2. We don't even have a babysitter at this point. So I want you guys to hear me say, like, it hasn't been just this like, oh, I got a nanny 5 years ago and now I just can work my business whenever I want. But I do have help from my husband and we really communicate where my needs need to be in terms of the business and then same for him. I think the biggest thing that I've learned over 8 years is if you can just work smarter, then your business will completely change. So for me, I know that if I can just dedicate like an hour or 2 to my business every single day, or at least 6 out of the 7 days, because I really do try to take a Sabbath. If I can just focus that time, it's so much easier. And this is what I teach my team. Like, I think it's great to hustle, especially times right now. If we're going after these promotions, yes, you want to hustle. But you need to communicate that time to your family because they come first, obviously. So yeah, just being a busy mom, I realized over the 8 years that not necessarily being on my phone 24/7 was the answer. Because when you do that, yes, you may have that focused time 24/7, but then you neglect your family and then you have mom guilt. And there's never going to be like a perfect balance. But I was noticing I was on my phone all day. And then because my kids were needing so much attention, or maybe my husband did, I wasn't even able to really focus on my business. Like I thought I was focusing, I thought I was working smart, but I wasn't. So then when I started going, okay, I'm going to put my phone and leave it on the charger and then go spend time with my family and do that focused time with them, then I can come back and have that focused 1 to 2 hours. And now with like KPI lists, post to post, things that are more like actual intention, it's so much easier. Because I feel like back in 2013, 2014, all we were told to do is do your steps to success and post on Facebook and Instagram. And so I'd be posting all day long, just kind of waiting around or cold messaging, which I don't really do, but I'd be doing these things that kind of felt like I was working, but it wasn't really working. So you guys, I feel like, are in this business at the perfect time because it's just easier to kind of grasp what is very important and then take your 1 to 2 hours and focus on that. Hopefully that makes sense.
It totally did. I love that because it's so true. So many times people are like, oh my God, I feel like I need to be on my phone all day, every day. When really, if you can just like tell your husband or tell your kids, hey, I'm going to go sit over here, whether it's an office, in your car, in your bedroom for an hour and 2, and I'm going to knock my whole list out. And then you can keep your phone wherever that is and go back with your family and hang out with them and not feel guilty. So
I want to just say this too. You really need to do like an audit of your day and see where you're spending a lot of your time, because not just for myself, but a lot of my leaders will actually look at their day. And when they think they're on their phone all day, most of that time is spent talking to their team. And I really want you guys to hear me say this, like talking to your team is great. Like I have a family relationship with my leadership. Like we talk whenever, like on a chat, whatever. Here's the deal. If you spend your entire day like answering questions especially if they're like your new DTs and you're just like constantly just on there, that's not working. Like that's part of it. Like it's maybe 10 to 20% of what Mark Pentecost has told us our job is, but 80% of your job is to recruit new and to build your chart, build your business, okay? And yes, your team is part of your business, but what I find is a lot of leaders are doing 80% of management and like chit-chatting and like being the first to answer the message on the team page because you feel really smart. Like that used to be me, okay? I was like a control freak. I just loved answering everybody's questions all the time. It made me feel like I was doing something. Do an audit of your day. Like, what are you actually spending your time doing? And is that really increasing your check? Because what you could be doing is printing off your fast start qualification report and going down and going, okay, this is the person I do need to talk to today because she's coming up in 3 days. She's about to miss, whatever goal she's needing to hit for me to get my bonus. So yes, I'm going to talk to her, but I'm not going to spend an hour with this like down and out distributor who is constantly needing my support when I can maybe put that to the side and save it for, later on tonight or tomorrow. So there's a lot in this business that you're going to start seeing, wow, I thought I was working, but I wasn't really working. It wasn't really helping. And that's going to help you as a mom. That's going to help you because you guys, like, I'm going to be the ambassador that's going to tell you, like, your family is important. The business does not trump your family. Now, there are going to be times that you're going to sacrifice. I don't even like using that word. Yes, you're going to have to hustle and do the things to get it done, but do not neglect them so much because I've been there in my business where I've made that mistake.
Yeah. And I love that you said that about working with your new distributors because 9 times out of 10, a question that they ask you, if it takes you more than 5 minutes to answer them, they'll go find the answer.
Yep.
Like put a 1 in the chat.
If you've got a team chat that they're in, they can ask the team chat, they can ask the team page. Yeah. They, most of my distributors, like, yes, they do have my phone number, but I make it very clear that the way to communicate with me is through Facebook Messenger. Mm-hmm. That's where we talk. So I'm not getting phone calls all day. Like I'm not getting text messages that are going to distract me from what I need to focus on. And then I can go back and go, okay, I have these unread messages on Facebook. Maybe that's your time. Once you get the kids to bed, you can answer those messages. And here's another thing, boundaries. Like even, I don't care if you don't feel like you're a leader. If you have one person under you, like you can start creating boundaries. So with your team, if you know that you will stay up till 1 a.m., like doing all of these things and not getting sleep because you're answering all these messages, let your team know like, hey, I'm available on my phone from 9 to 5. But then from the hours of like 5 to 8, I'm putting my kids to bed. Like feel free to message me, but you're probably not going to hear back. Like just tell them that. You're not going to I've never had a team leader be like, well, that's not acceptable. And I'm going to need you to talk to me from 5 to 8. Like, no, like yes, this is like your business and we are independent distributors, but at the same time, like you can set those work hours and I'm guilty of it. Like I'm really bad at it because I love this business. You'll catch me on my phone talking to my team and stuff, but if you are seeing that your check's not going up and you're like, I'm on my phone all the time, that's when you need to really look at your day and figure out what's going on.
Oh my gosh, I love that. Okay, so what are your best tips for duplication throughout your team? Like, how do you get people going and going fast so that you can spend 80% of your time working on enrolling those new distributors in the new business and that 10 or 20% with your team?
I think self-development is really important. Making sure that in some way that you're inspiring your leadership, you're allowing them to make mistakes, you're allowing them to step up. If you are like a diamond and above or ruby and above, you need to allow like your leadership to answer questions. Or maybe like if you're so used to doing these Zooms, like ask one of them to get on a Zoom. And so you're giving them this platform. And some people like don't even realize that they're meant to do this, like that they can do this. And so they watch you. And if you're just constantly the one in charge or constantly the one to be like super know-it-all, because again, that was me, I knew it all. A lot of your leadership will look at you and go, oh, I can never be Susan. Like I can never be that. And so what I started doing is I allowed them to see, no, you can do this and you will be this leader and you will make mistakes along the way, but that's why I'm here. And then that creates duplication. But the honest answer is time. Like in this business, you are going to have, like, you could say and do all the right things and you may not have leaders take off. You may not have people go diamond, double diamond. It really just takes time and getting the right people, the right quality people. But you can still nurture the leaders that you do have. And that's where having that, you know, personal development come in, you know, encouraging them. I'm not a reader. So anytime someone in my chat's like, hey, what's a great book that you would recommend? I'm like, listen, audio, maybe. Like I'm just bad. Like I'm going to be very vulnerable with you guys. So like YouTube videos, like things you can like listen to, there's really no excuse because you can like take a shower and turn on something in the background. Like my husband loves to listen to audio stuff. So I'll listen to stuff he's got going on. Just anything that, like talking to even sideline helps me. I do like a mastermind with some of the top leadership. We just started a brand new one. So just anything that's going to encourage you. And then that's going to trickle down to your team. One of the biggest examples is like, who knows who Morgan Martin is? Do y'all know who Morgan Martin is? Okay. You guys, like she was on, so she's on underneath me and she's not direct to me. Like I did not personally enroll her. She's a few levels down now. I remember her calling me as like a diamond and going, oh, I just want to go double. Like she wanted it so bad. I didn't really know who she was, but we started, you know, getting those phone calls and I started her seeing doing live videos. Like I started seeing this leader develop. And so I bonded with her. And then when she, you know, eventually went triple and presidential, she obviously started doing her own team page and her own team Zooms on Monday nights and things like that. In no way did I ever get this like fear that, oh my goodness, what if her team doesn't get on my trainings? Like I didn't get that fear because I wanted her to develop into this amazing leader. And now, of course, like look at her. She's literally number 22 in the company. She's incredible, but I never squashed that. Like I never wanted to be the boss of Morgan Martin. Instead, I wanted to like, I always told her like, if anybody's going to pass me in this company, it's going to be you. Like I told her that, like I said, girlfriend, like, let's do this. And so that took time. Like this didn't happen overnight. Morgan Martin didn't join my team, you guys, and become a top leader like overnight. But look at her now. And so you're going to find those people. And as long as you're just showing duplication, showing them that, hey, you can do the steps of success and you don't have to be a top enroller, which Morgan's the worst example with that because she is a top enroller. But I have plenty of people on my team who are making amazing paychecks and they just stick to those steps of success each month. And that's what I do. I'm where I'm at, even with my presidential account, my 2.0 account's presidential. It's just doing those steps, building those rubies and teaching other people to build rubies. And I think they talked about this at conference, but a lot of people don't have the mindset of a diamond and above. They don't have the mindset of making $2,000 a month even, but they will kind of get this, oh, $300, $400 a month, that I can do that. And what's great about Ambassador is that's just a whole lot of people that want to be Ruby. So if you think about it that way, if you can teach someone to go Ruby and train them to teach their people to go Ruby, that's how duplication's made. And network marketing is not a whole bunch of ambassadors under you. Network marketing is teaching that domino effect of Ruby, Ruby, Ruby. And that's going to get you those big paychecks.
Okay, so touch a little bit on how you build rubies fast.
Falling asleep. I'm so sorry. I'm just going to be like as honest as possible. I'm going to have to do a little switch.
Oh my God, you're fine. I do that all the time and it looks like my whole body's like shifting because I'm moving. But talk about how you pop rubies fast and like teach other people to promote rubies quickly.
Yeah, so I'm not against helping others. You know, I will place distributors under those that are working and recruiting customers. But I try not to ever just build someone completely to Ruby. Like I'm very strategic of placement. Like I'll maybe put like 1 or 2 distributors and then I want them to get their third. Because a lot of times if you just build someone to Ruby and they get there, like what's going to happen? They're just going to be like, most of the time, they're just going to be like, oh, awesome. So I like to see them put a little bit of effort into that third leg. And if not, then I look at who I've placed under them. And if they're ready to rock and roll, then I'll start working with them. So it's all strategy. And so I don't necessarily, I can't say, oh, do this and you're going to build a Ruby fast, because what do we talk about? You're going to have people come in that may not be super fast paced. You never know who's like going to stick and who's not. But I do teach simplicity, and I say, okay, like you've got one person under you. I've placed them there. This is your roadmap. This is what you're going to need to get this rank, to get the 2000 in group volume. So we talk about that. And I've been doing a lot of one-on-one Zoom since conference. And it's not like my double diamonds that I'm Zooming with. It's a lot of my like executives and new distributors that may have just one person under them, because that's where, when that clicks, when someone realizes, oh my goodness, like all I need is one distributor, they start going for it because it seems possible. A lot of people are visual learners. And when you tell them, hey, we're going to go Ruby, they're like, what? Like, I don't even know. And then you tell them like how much a Ruby makes, and they're still kind of confused. But when you sit them down and you show them, hey, you've got Sarah under you, let's put them in a box. And then now you just need to find 2 more friends and write, do the little boxes, the empty boxes, and say, find 2 people. And then you're just going to teach them to get 6 customers. Once you've done that, come back to me. We're going to rechart. We're going to make sure you get to 2000. And then it's going to click. When that light bulb goes off, it just doesn't, like, you can't stop someone. But if they are so confused that they don't even know like the roadmap to get to Ruby, a lot of people just stop. They don't do anything. They're frozen. So that's what I teach. I teach like, I love charting to diamond, but I feel like if someone can't understand Ruby, they're never going to eventually get ambassador. So we train on that a lot.
Okay, so somebody asked if they're doing all the things and you already gave them 2 distributors, would you still not give them the third? Is that like your non-negotiable rule, or is it?
No, it's not a non-negotiable rule. If I'm signing a whole lot of people and I've got someone to place and that's like where I need them, at the end of the day, here's another thing. And I just got off the phone with the double diamond yesterday because we were talking about one of her leaders who did not want to promote this month, because if she promoted with the person that was the closest, the emerald would get a check she didn't deserve. And I was like, oh man, this is hard, because at the end of the day, this business is a whole lot of blessing others. Okay. Sometimes along your business, you're going to have someone come in and they're excited and they're on fire, and then something happens, but they're still on your chart and you're like this close to a promotion. Like, I'm talking this close. Do not let your family be affected, like your paycheck, because of pride. Because at the end of the day, like, my family comes first. So I'm going to get that promotion. I worked hard for that promotion. And if somebody on my chart happens to get paid that month, maybe a paycheck that they didn't really work for, that's just icing on the cake and a blessing. And the way our comp plan is built is that's not going to last forever. Like, it truly won't. You might be blessing them for a month or 2, but then you're going to start working with the person under them that's actually working. You know what I'm saying? So to answer your question, there may be a time where I have a distributor and I'm like, you know what? She hasn't signed any, but she's signing customers. And if she's signing customers, she can help me get my fast starts, or she can help me get that volume. And so I'm getting there faster. We're working together. But that's when you chart and you see, okay, I've put 3 people under her. She's not signing anybody. She's not signing customers. On my chart, I'm going to kind of move along and find somebody within that leg who is working. It doesn't mean that she doesn't exist. I'm still going to be there for her. If she has questions, I'm still going to encourage her. I'm not going to write her off or block her. But on my chart, she is not going to be the top leader that I'm going to now start getting to the next rank. That volume, the way our comp plan is built, that volume is never wasted. So within that leg, it's still going to help me in some way. So I don't ever really have like a non-negotiable rule, because you just never know. And if it took getting someone to Ruby for me to go diamond, I would do it in a heartbeat.
Yeah. And it's kind of like a balance, looking at it and figuring out like how close are you. I mean, if it's like a matter of 100 or 2 between one person and the other,
you're going to probably choose the other, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But not like this girl. And this is not to like knock my team at all, but it was like 2,500 to 3,000 difference. And we were like, oh, please, like, please don't skip this, girl. Like,
Yeah.
it's gonna work itself out. And the way our comp plan, you guys, it always works itself out. And there's never a perfect way to chart. There's no
Yeah.
perfect answer. You may be stuck trying to choose between one or the other. It always works out.
Yeah. And if you're brand new on here and you're like trying to look at
What are you
Ruby,
talking about?
you're like real confused, but I just want you to hear this. You will never, ever, ever have 100% working chart.
No. And
Ever.
it's always going to change. You're
Yeah.
always going to like, it's all strategy. That's what this business is. And it's actually really fun. Once you start to understand it,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
really fun. And you should always have someone, it may not be the person that enrolled you, but there's always someone that if you're working and you're trying to chart, they will want to chart with you.
Mm-hmm.
They'll be excited. They'll be like, oh my goodness, this person's trying to chart to Ruby. Awesome. So if the person above you is not helping you out, I guarantee you there's someone above them that would love to have a new Ruby on their team.
Yeah. So talk to us or like give your best advice for someone who might have been in for a little while and they feel like they just haven't found their like right team yet. Like they're just kind of feeling stuck. They're signing people, but they're not taking off. And they're just like, what is going on? We've all been there, but what's your best advice for that?
So whenever I feel stuck, I try to figure out like what's the new thing that's getting the most. And like I ask people like, where did you sign that distributor? I mean, you guys, TikTok didn't exist years ago. Host to Post didn't exist years ago. But when I started hearing of those things, I didn't like, it took me a bit with Host to Post. If you've heard me talk about it, like I was completely against it. And then I realized, oh, this is like, it's not what I thought it was. And I signed a lot of customers that way, but I noticed I was signing all these customers, but my distributor recruitment started going down. So what did I do? I went, Susan, like, how am I going to change this? I need to change something. I'm not just going to sit here and continue doing the same thing and expect different results. So I started doing more Host to Post with opportunity. I started doing different things, trying new things. And now I'm slowly trying TikTok. You know, there's different things that you're going to have to venture out. And a lot of times, I think Josh Parker, he had this like amazing post on the VIP page about like, if someone feels stuck, it's usually certain things. And one of the biggest things he said is, you think that you're working to like network, but you're just using the same network for like years. Like you have this same circle. You're not adding new people through Host to Post. You're not making new connections. So yeah, maybe your circle, you are not getting results. Like nobody's wanting to join your team because you're not adding new. Most of the people that join me, like I never knew them. Like I met them through someone else, or they added me because of a post they saw from someone else, whatever. So if you feel stuck, just do something new. Like do something that's going to feel a little scary or awkward. Usually that produces the best results. I mean, in my 8 years, we have brand new products, you guys, like those slimming gummies. My husband, I mean, literally every day he's like, I love the slimming gummies. Like he just talks about it all the time. He loves it. He loves it more than I love it. That should be you. You should find a product that you were just so obsessed about, and your excitement is going to, like, your loyal customers that join you, they should be getting that excited. And that's when you can go to them and say, hey, like, I really think you should be doing this with me. Like you love these products. Like you should be reaching out to your loyal customers that are past their 3rd month, 4th month. If they are using the products, why wouldn't you reach out to them and have them join your team? Because they're able to get that discount, but they're also able to sell. Like it's the perfect opening is those great loyal customers. Those are usually the best distributors on our team.
Yeah, especially right now. It's only
Yes.
$30.
Yeah.
Especially right now. My
Right.
husband's the same about the gummies. He's obsessed with them. He's like, these
Yeah,
are like
and
the
our tea
greatest thing
hasn't
ever.
come. I only ordered like one of each flavor, and now I'm like really worried that he's gonna fall in love with those. But even my kids, y'all, they'll see us like open the bottle and they're like, can I have one? I want a fruit snack. And I'm like, no, you can't have these. Like, first of all, they're like, I don't know how as a mom, I've got 4 girls, 8 and under. Like, I'm not gonna talk about weight loss a lot because that's just weird. And I try to just talk about being healthy. Then they see me like popping these things and I have to say, no, you can't have them because they make you lose weight. And they're like, why do you need to lose weight? It's so awkward, but I love them. Like they taste so good. If you have not ordered them, you need to order them.
They're
They're
seriously delicious. They're so
yes.
good. Okay, so I want to know if you're talking to a brand new distributor and they come in and they're like, listen, I want to promote fast. I want to make a lot of money. What are your best tips for them to kind of get them running quickly?
Host to post. I mean, I just signed 2 people past 2 days, and it's funny because they've actually been in like years ago. So the way that they think to work it works is like completely different now. So I mean, I said I'm going to train you like you're brand new. So I would just send them my like step-by-step training, but I mean, we flew through it. And the biggest thing that they were not aware of was host to post. And I was like, no, listen, you've got to do this. And so we practice a little bit with their family. Like I tell them, like, if you've got a sister or an aunt or somebody, let's practice real quick. I want you to send this to them. They're going to put up this post. And then once they do that, I'm like, okay, this is what you're going to do with strangers. And you're going to do these giveaway posts. Like I explain it all to them. And I can usually explain it. I don't have to even get on Zoom with them, you guys. Like I send it in voice memos. It's quick. And again, like I have my little scripts that I send them. And so host to post is big. And then most of these girls are on TikTok anyway. And I'm like, okay, you're going to think this is really crazy, but a lot of people are using TikTok. And if you're not comfortable, and I want you guys to hear this, like if you're not comfortable talking about the products or the opportunity, which the opportunity right now, they don't want us doing anyway because of the new TikTok MLM rules, you have to kind of be sneaky. But if you're not comfortable, like bringing it works to TikTok, that's okay. Use your TikTok to do whatever it is, your personality, be funny, whatever, share videos, get them to your Instagram, get them over to your Facebook. That's the best way. It's like funneling these people. So I tell my new distributors, get on TikTok, start finding something that, that you enjoy doing. And then at the same time, be doing host to post on these other platforms. And then it's just gonna, do a poll or make your coffee on your Instagram story. Those people from TikTok are then gonna see it. But I think like if you're talking the fastest way, host to post. Like that's how my new distributors get their customers. And I told my new distributor today, don't be afraid to be vulnerable and honest in your posts because that's what people want to see. She was like, oh my goodness, like I'm so nervous to tell people I joined again because like a lot of my friends and family knew I quit. And I was like, okay, like, so you tell them that life happened and that you've been following me. Tell them exactly what you said the day you messaged me saying you want to rejoin. That's what you're going to tell people. And she was like, oh, so getting new distributors to be vulnerable and honest and let them know, like, if we're just going to lay it out there, our generation right now is very anti-MLM. With the TikTok videos that I've seen, I even heard, I had my kids over in like a jungle gym thing today, and I overheard the 2 girls working at the front desk going, oh yeah, and then she messaged me, I mean, who am I going to be a boss babe? Like they were literally making fun of MLM. So you have to understand that that is already ingrained in a lot of these, like all of their heads. It's already ingrained that like boss babe, anti-MLM. So you have to show them why we're different. You have to show them why is Susan Wade's page completely different than this spammy girl over here in Monet or whatever. Sorry, I'm not knocking Monet. I'm just using that as an example. So I always look at every single follower as if they already kind of have a distaste for MLM and how can I change their view? How can I share my story every day that's going to click with them to go, maybe this will be different. Maybe it isn't a scam. Maybe it's not this pyramid scheme. And so if you can train your distributors, your new distributors to be vulnerable and honest and to be personal on their social media platforms, which I think TikTok's great because it allows people's personalities to come out a lot. If you can train that up front, and remind them, hey, I don't want you to be like spammy. That's not why you joined this. So let's work on it. If you can start there, then they're not going to get into this, like, those new distributors, they get in and they're like, oh, I just need to post like ads all day long. Okay, cool. No, get them to make story, like their first post. One of the first posts that I have my new distributors do is I have them go to their kitchen, grab an empty coffee cup because they don't have the skinny brew yet. They don't have their kit yet that they've been able to send to themselves. So I just have them like hold up a coffee cup and do something like a host to post would normally say, like, if you could drink coffee and lose weight, would you? Like just something very simple. They don't even have to announce that they've joined a company yet. You could literally have them jump in fast. So I know I just went on a rant, but we have to show that why MLM is different and why it's not what people are, all the rumors out there. You have to show them why we are, it works, and why, this is the company to join.
Yeah, I love that you touched on that because I think that's a fear that a lot of new distributors have is that they know that people think that. But here's what I want you to hear. If you're afraid of that, you don't have to be the person that they're talking about. You don't have to be the person that only talks about the business. The reason why it works is different, why it works stands out is because we teach our people to share our story first and then just kind of sprinkle the business in. If you go to our pages, it's not, it works, it works, it works, it works, it works. We're sharing our stories and our lives and our families with people. We're connecting to people on things other than the business. And that's why they're drawn to us for the business, because they connect to us on different things. So just remember that when you're posting, don't feel like you're an It Works robot. Like you are you, and that's what you want to post about. So only a couple more things. How do you feel like you created a strong culture within your team? Because I know that's something that people are really hearing about is creating that culture and that friendship. So was there anything that you felt like you did that really helped do that?
I matured. I joined this business when I was 24. I feel like I grew up here. Looking back at just some of like, I used to be super sensitive. Um, it's like I couldn't separate business with like my friendship with some people, and I would get my feelings hurt. But yeah, just time. It just took time. I don't think there was like a specific book I read or anything like that. The culture within my team is just, I love them. Like they know that they can come to me and they're venting upward, which is what I teach my team to do. They could always go to their team and they can always go, oh my gosh, I'm so frustrated with customer service. Can you believe Connect app's not working? No, if they're going to come to me, I'd much rather them come to me. And so instead of like, yes, you do have those people that you're like, oh gosh, this is my complainer. But a lot of times I don't. A lot of times they just need someone to listen. So I've learned over the 8 years that sometimes your leaders just need a place for someone to listen to them. Just like I think in my personal business, sometimes I needed to call Pam. Sometimes I needed to text Cammie and cry. Like you're going to have those moments. Business is never going to be perfect. So the culture I created with my team is they're not scared of me. That like I'm their friend. Now I can put them in their place when needed, but I do it in a loving way. And I always teach my leadership, you're going to have conflict. We are all different personalities. But when I go to critique or when I go to resolve conflict, I always start off these conversations with love. And I'm like, you know what? I love this about you, but this is something like, are you willing to hear me critique in this area? Like I ask them permission. And I just try to show them that like, I'm not perfect. That's a big thing, you guys. If you are going to be in this business and have team under you and you're going to act like you've never made a mistake and that you're perfect, your team's going to start resenting you a lot. And my team over 8 years has told me, Susan, we love when you tell us you haven't maintained, or that one time that, you had a struggle and that you pushed through. I don't act like everything is rainbows and butterflies all the time, but I'm also not a leader that's going to allow negativity to continue. So I think just like allowing, just like a family, you love your family. It's not going to be perfect all the time. I also like, if someone decides to leave my team, this is a big one. Please just let them leave. Like, just let them leave and say, I respect your decision. The door will be open if you ever decide to come back. You will not believe how many people have rejoined. Like they left my team and then rejoined under our team. They didn't decide to go to like these awesome leaders that like I compare myself to all the time, like Ashley Mayfield or Jade Hooper. They still continued to go back under me for whatever reason. It was probably because I told them I still loved them and I'd be here if they, now if someone caused issues on my team and treated me badly or did that's different. But I'm talking about just in general. Years ago, we were told if someone left it works, you need to block them, like they're going to poach your team, whatever. At the end of the day, usually that's not the case. They just wanted to try something else, but they usually always come back. And so love on your non-workers, love on the people that may not make you the most money, because you just never know. You may have someone that may seem like slow or didn't go Ruby in their first year, whatever, but guess what? They could sign the person that could go ambassador. And so I choose to love everybody on my team, no matter what level they're on. And I'm trying to always be there to chart them and help them, regardless of the money that I make off of them, because you never know when their upline quits and they come. I know that's hard to understand if you're new, but you never know. They may one day be on your top line. And so I just choose to love all my leadership. Try, when you do get to that triple diamond and up level, do like small retreats. They don't have to be super extravagant, but get to know your team. And at conferences, make sure, when they're not virtual, of course, make sure you find the time to like get to know your team and don't just get to know the people again that are your top, because someday you just never know who the other people might come and they might make you even more money. And if you neglected them, you just never know. I've heard stories where people only did retreats for their favorites, or only got to know certain people, or only answered their phone for certain people. So I just try to create a culture on my team that if you're on my team and I'm your upline, I'm here for you no matter what.
Yeah, I love that you touched on that, because I was one of those people that a lot of leaders would look over. For the first 2 years, I did nothing. I was just in the chats. I would run an auto ship randomly. I was like there, but not doing anything. And I was just there. And then one conference, it clicked and I went from distributor to double in just a couple months. And I want you to hear that. You never know when that person's going to get it. You never know when life's going to change and they're going to get to a point where they're like, I cannot stand my job. I will do whatever it takes to get out of it. So I love that you touched that, because it's so hard for a lot of people that you see those people that you're like, well, you could be good, but you're not even posting regularly. Like, I don't know what to do with you. So just like Susan said, just love on them, just love them and keep that space open so that when they do have that life change or their mind shift switches, they know they can come to you and say, hey, I'm ready to run.
Exactly.
So how have you improved your money mindset since you started? And like, are there any tips or books? Well, I know you don't like to read, but like things you've listened to or
Don't show Mark Pentecost this recording. He's gonna be like, oh my goodness, we need to work on her.
be like that loud.
So I'm trying to think of Michael. My husband's just amazing, you guys. And if I didn't have him, I probably would have spent like all of our money. He really just, he taught me to save. Like back when I went presidential, I remember crying because I wanted to be like not in that rental home. I was like bringing people over to my house and telling them I was making like, I mean, y'all seen the presidential income chart, right? It didn't look right. It didn't add up. Like I'm making all this money and yet we're living here. But he just kept saying, no, we're going to save, we're going to pay off our debt, and we're going to do these things, and we're going to live like no one else, whatever Dave Ramsey, that quote, so that we can one day live like no one else. And we are 8 years later, like I want to cry because we are able to do things that other people haven't been able to do. And it's because we didn't just go out and splurge. I remember, some of the other ambassadors like immediately bought that big house or immediately bought 7 Louis Vuittons and did all those things. And we just paid off debt. We got rental homes. We did different investments and now it's paying off. And so I don't know if that's like a money mindset thing. I just, hopefully when you hit the rank that you want to hit, make sure you're relying on that residual and not so much the extra bonuses that come with it. Like put that to the side. That's super important. I grew up in a house I grew up in this mindset that I should always have a job and I should always be a nurse, because what if one day my husband leaves me and I'm without, like, I can't take care of my kids, because that's what happened to my mom. Sorry, my foot again fell asleep. And so I kind of went into life scared, like, okay, I've got to be a nurse and I've got to make an income because my husband's going to leave me one day and I need to be able to afford to keep our house. Like that was ingrained in me since I was little. And so that's a lot of the reason why I went to nursing school. If I really think about it, I don't really think I wanted to be a nurse. I just was scared. And so now, like, it's not fear, it's more just like really enjoying the income that we have, but also knowing that we can take it and put it aside for our girls one day so that they never even have to go, they'll never be fearful. They'll never be scared. But we're also going to teach them to save. We're going to teach them to work. We're going to teach them to hustle. And so I think just knowing that I came into It Works with that fear and just feeling so blessed and feeling so safe with, and hear me out, like the money that we've made with It Works, we've been able to use that in other ways to just double it and triple it. So know that too. If you've got a spouse who's like, I don't want you to go full time with It Works, I don't want to be a stay-at-home dad, that's okay. But It Works can allow him to come home so that he can go and do the things that he actually wants to do. He doesn't have to be an It Works distributor. He can actually have fun and make more money. Like Michael now, like he's like, I'm gonna make more money than you. Like it's like it's just funny. But that's y'all didn't need to know all that. But it's been a really cool journey and just a fun journey. And
Yeah.
it's just kind of crazy. Just when I do these Zooms and I share my story, like actually going, did that really happen? Like, it's just crazy how the timelines add up. And
Yeah.
there's somebody on the Zoom, I feel like they're going to one day have that same story and go, oh my gosh, like here I am. Like how did I even come from here to here? So
Yeah. I love that you share that because my husband's the same way. Like I brought him home and now he never wanted to just like sit at home and be like, well, I'm just going to sit on the couch all day, but he loves investing. It's so
yeah,
fun for him. So I didn't tell him, hey, you have to retire and do absolutely nothing, but it's like, hey, I retired you and now you can use that money to do something that you love, that you feel like proud of and you feel productive. So just remember that if your husband's not super supportive, just keep telling yourself that one day you'll bring him home from the job that he hates going to and allow him to do what he likes to do and not have to worry about the money that comes from it. Um, so, okay, last two questions, I promise. If there are people, and I know there are people on this Zoom that are close to a promotion, what are your best volume boosting tips quickly to make that promotion happen?
So if you've got your chart out, what I have my leaders do is I have them like go all the way down to like the executives and the rubies, like obviously the rubies, but even the executives, and to write those people and like have it mapped out where you know exactly how much volume would be needed for them to hit that small win and how many orders it would take. So you could say like 4 orders of this package or whatever, like give them a goal, these small little goals. And if you do that with your executives, and then that's going to trickle up to your rubies and then eventually your emeralds. Because a lot of times, like even looking at the double diamond promotion, you think, oh, let me just get with my diamond and my emerald because that's who's like the big promotions for me to hit. And you forget that that small win with that executive, they could place like an order for you. Like maybe they needed some more skinny brew. That's volume. And reaching out to people that you may not know on your chart yet and go, hey, is there anybody like in your family that we could contact to be your little customer? So I just think like figuring out the small wins on your chart that's going to eventually lead to your big wins. That's my biggest piece of advice.
I love that. You can even do that for the 400 club too, or like your
Yes.
first 6 customers. Really, you can break it down to anything, but I love that because it's just getting everyone involved instead of just like your top people.
Right.
Okay, so the last thing that I want you to share is you've been around for a few years, so you know what this time of year can do for people. You know how it can go from 0 to 100 real quick. So just share a little bit, whether you have like your own personal story or like other stories or just what you've kind of seen happen in this time of year, because we have a lot of newbies on right now. Put a 2 in the chat if you're like, I've been in less than 6 months, because I still consider that kind of a newbie. If you've been in less than 6 months, put in the 2 in the chat, because they're like, I don't know what this like boom season thing is. I don't know what's going on. Like, is there about to be a bomb? That's legit what I thought my first boom season. I'm like, is there a bomb somewhere? Like, what? I legit don't know what's going on. So just kind of share a little bit about this time of year.
So for me personally, I mean, I joined in November and I wanted to go Ruby in 2 months and I didn't hit my goal. I actually, like, the night before I was supposed to promote, like, I had 2 girls call and cancel. And I remember, like, so upset. I was like, something's wrong with me. And I was brand new. I didn't even know what was going on at that point. I don't even think I knew what diamond was, but I knew I was supposed to go Ruby and I didn't hit it. And then my 3rd month, I did go Ruby. And on my 4th month, they announced a bonus, which is, they just announced all these bonuses at conference, right? So I knew that there was a bonus, and there wasn't a bonus for diamond, but there was a bonus for double at this time. And so I was actually a Ruby charted for diamond. And Melody McFarlane, who, if you don't know who that is, she's the sweetest older lady ever. She's been in the business for like a million years. She's my upline. She called me and she was like, hey, I knew you were supposed to go diamond, but I really think you could go double. And just hearing her say, I think you can go double, and someone just putting that encouragement out there, I was like, maybe. And so I got up my double chart, which diamond to double, you guys, is not that big of a difference. Like, it's not. And it's one of the biggest income jumps. And so on my, let's see, joined November, I think it was the end of March, I went double diamond. And that was the promotion that changed my life. When I opened up that check in April, everything changed. And so this time of year is crazy. Like, it's truly crazy. And you may be sitting at executive and hearing people talk about diamond, like, just seems so far off, but it's not. And our charts are even easier now, because back when I did the chart, like, it was like double the amount of distributors. So now you need half the distributors. You guys can totally do this. I mean, I've had people go from diamond to triple, emerald to double. Like, it's just, this time of year is great. And because you have so many people that not only need to get healthy, but they also want to make a lot of money. So yeah.
Oh my gosh, I love that. Now being in this is almost my 5th year. I love this time of year because it kind of opens people's eyes to what's possible.
Yes.
Last year, at the end of January, my husband was distributor, and by the end of April, he was double diamond, you guys. So just know that it doesn't matter where you are right now. It doesn't matter if you've been in for a year and you're like, I haven't promoted yet. So like, I don't know what you think is going to happen now, but it doesn't matter what's happened in your past. If you decide today that you're like, I'm going to get this stuff done, you can. You just have to set your mind to it. So is there any last minute things that you really feel like is on your heart that you want to share?
I just want every single person watching knowing that you're worthy of this and you can do it. And I know it's really hard because you see a lot of the VIP people, and I know they talked about this at conference, but it's hard not to compare, and it's hard not to like look at even their social media and go, oh my gosh, like that, I can't look like that. Like, I can't be that. I mean, even someone like me who like is at the top, I look at them and I'm like, oh my gosh, like Jocelyn Yates, like look at her hair and her makeup, and like her kids are dressed so cute, and look at me. And like, literally, I do that. And just know, like, every single one of you can do this, and you don't have to look a certain way or have the specific personality, because all you have to do is find like 3 people. You know, it takes 3 legs to go ambassador. You need to find 3 people that want this as bad as you, and you can go ambassador. And that's all it takes. And people are going to want to hear your story. Everybody's story is different, but there are people that need your story. And so that's what you need to focus on. Figure out why you're doing this. Every single day, have that reminder of why you're going to continue to work. Take that Sabbath once a week. You need time to rest. You don't want to get burnt out, trust me, because you're going to want to exit stage left. You're not going to want to do this anymore if you're just so burnt out. And have fun and figure out, if you're not having fun, what's the problem? Like, we got to figure it out, because this business is fun. So figure out how to have fun, figure out your why, and you all can do this.
Oh my gosh, so good. Thank you so much for taking time tonight to hang out with us,
You're
to
welcome.
share your wisdom. Everyone,